I checked my instruments. Altitude 7,500 feet. Heading 145 degrees. Airspeed 115. Wait, I thought to myself for a moment. Airspeed 115? I thought the heading was supposed to be 115, not the airspeed. I had been flying the wrong number on the heading indicator. I should have been flying 145 degrees, not 115 degrees. I shouted, I'm going the wrong way. I picked up the map and threw it on my lap. I was way left, of course. I looked outside for landmarks. There were some long dirt roads, but from the air all the roads looked the same. I looked for another landmark. There was a small mountain ridge off to my port side. I checked the map. I found one that looked similar. I estimated my position and figured Mount Kilimanjaro must be off to my right. I glanced in that direction and saw nothing. Only a large group of cumulus clouds far off in the distance. That must be it, I shouted. Has to be. It's hidden. I had just been studying weather in ground school. This was part of the weather examination. In July, the wind blows from the southeast. When people talk about the southeast monsoons, they are referring to the wind that passes over the Indian Ocean. Therefore, the air is moist and cold. When it reaches a mountain, it is forced upward, condensing it to form clouds. It's called orographic lifting. That's why I missed Kilimanjaro. It was obscured by clouds and haze. I knew that if I kept the same heading, I would end up in Tanzania and probably get shot down by border guards. My only alternative was to make a 90-degree turn to the right and head towards a mountain, the one I couldn't see. I saw a few roads that might lead me to Amboseli, but at this height all car tracks looked the same. I thought of what my instructor once told me, never wander about the sky aimlessly. There's nothing worse than a student pilot who doesn't know where he is or where he's going. Well, no, Sherlock. So where is that little bugger when you need him the most? I banked right and aimed the plane at what I thought was the mountain. Remember the one that's supposed to be so easy to find? Below me were a group of roads that converged in the middle of nowhere. I figured from my map that they might lead me to Amboseli, so I followed them. I was unsure if this heading would take me to the airstrip. I was hoping for some luck. At one of the junctions ahead, I saw a small airstrip, so headed towards it. It didn't look like Amboseli, but I called Nairobi Center anyway. I needed to land to get a fix on my position. This seemed like a good idea at the time. What you think? Nairobi Center, I called. Amboseli in sight. Maybe. They answered back. Call again when airborne, they replied. At a closer look, I could see that the airfield was not the right one. My instructor told me Amboseli was a dry and barren airfield in the middle of nowhere. The one that I was approaching was surrounded by huts and buildings where tourists must be staying. There was even a nice swimming pool. There was a filling station near the field and a number of white vans full of tourists running about. Now I know I'm lost. Oh well, perhaps one day I'll look back on all this and laugh. I pulled the throttle back for a descent and flew the aircraft around the pattern and onto the runway as soft as can be, like a butterfly with sore feet. I wouldn't want anybody watching to think I was a bad pilot now, would I? While slowing down, I pulled the plane into a parking area and shut the engine down. As the prop stopped, I looked around and saw that this was a hopping place. There were tourist vans speeding in and out, heading to a nearby game park. There were people over by the huts enjoying the pool, and others just standing around looking for something to do. I figured I was very lucky to find this place. I undid the buckle on my seat and swung the door open to jump out. As my feet hit the ground, I felt a strong, hot wind in my face. It had been about 95 degrees. I reached into the storage compartment and grabbed my water bottle. I was very happy to have brought it along. I stretched my stiff body while eyeing the pool. It sure looked inviting. I realized I had been flying for almost 2 hours straight, my longest nonstop flight as a pilot in command. I felt proud. Disregarding the getting lost part, of course. Now to find out where I was. I saw a tall African gentleman walking towards one of the buildings near the filling pumps. I waved to him. "Bwana," I shouted. He came in my direction. As he approached, he gave me a strange look. He knew I wasn't supposed to be here. I gave him a big, stupid grin and asked the most embarrassing question any good pilot should always know the answer to. "Where am I?" He gave me a funny smile and glanced at my plane. He must have thought I was crazy. Is this Amboseli? I asked. No, Amboseli is that way. He waved his hand in a northerly direction. This is Latokitok. Latoy who? I asked. Latoikatok, he firmly stated. That's great, thank you. Now I know where I am, I explained. I looked around for a moment, then back at him. Where's Latoikatok? I asked. Here, he said while pointing to the ground. Well, no, I muttered under my breath. I walked to the plane and brought out a navigation map. I proceeded to the back of the plane and placed the map on the horizontal stabilizer to spread it out. Can you show me on the map? I asked. I had opened the map upside down, but he didn't notice. He was still trying to show me where I was. I flipped it around. Is this better? I remarked. Here, he said. He pointed to a small uncontrolled airstrip. According to the map, Mount Kilimanjaro was just 10 miles away. Looking in that direction, I saw nothing but clouds. I quickly estimated my new heading to Amboseli was 315 degrees. I folded the map and thanked the man and ran back to the cockpit. As I threw the map on the seat, I buckled myself in, started the engine. I was in the air in just a few minutes. I don't think the poor Kenyan man on the ground ever saw anything like it. I left him with his mouth hanging open. Now I had to contact center and let them know I didn't land at Amboseli, but some other place I couldn't pronounce.